Watch this. One simple adjustment to your stance instantly transforms a wild hook serve into a low, spinny rocket that clips the net. That's it. Drop your center of gravity and the arc stays low. When I serve, the power really comes from shifting my center of gravity. Watch, I drop my weight down low like this, chopping through the ball. Now let me summarize the essentials of the hook serve. I coached a student through this just last night and it clicked for him, so let me walk you through the same key points. Watch as my partner steps up to demonstrate a few hook serves. Notice the stance, the grip, and how the wrist moves through contact. Every detail matters here: the body position, the angle of the racket face at the moment of contact, and the follow-through. Pay close attention to the motion as each serve is delivered. Now, do you think that serve was topspin or backspin? A lot of people would guess topspin. But here's the thing, you really need to learn how to read the spin correctly. Judging spin on the hook serve is one of the most important skills, and most people get it wrong at first. Let me show you why this matters and how the deception actually works. Watch this, that is clearly a backspin serve. Look how obvious it is. My partner sends one back and you can see the ball kicks upward off the table. That tells you it's backspin. This ball is spinning so heavily that even when I push it, the ball drops into the net. And you still think that's topspin? After the chopping motion, there's a follow-through where the racket head comes up. But don't be fooled, just because the racket head moves upward doesn't mean it's topspin. The ball is loaded with backspin. So what do we do about this in a match? This is exactly why we practice the hook serve. The hook serve has strong deception built in. It's very hard for your opponent to read the spin. Watch closely as I chop down through the ball again. And again. See how difficult it is to tell what's coming. Now look carefully, notice that downward stamp of the wrist. The arm travels forward and downward through the contact. That forward and down path is the key to generating heavy backspin with the hook serve motion. The hook serve is quite different from a regular forehand pendulum serve. Let me explain the first key difference. A common reason people can't generate spin on the hook serve is that they're swinging the racket on a horizontal plane, a flat sideways swing. For the hook serve, you need to pull your elbow back behind you. Watch, if it feels awkward, you can loop your arm around first and then pull the elbow back. That's fine. The critical point is that your elbow tip must drop down. Most people who struggle with the hook serve have this problem. They've practiced the pendulum serve so much that their swing stays flat and sideways. When you've hit too many pendulum serves, your muscle memory takes over. Watch, it looks like a hook serve, but the ball still comes out with backspin or left side spin instead of the spin you intended. So here's the fix I've developed. Point 1. Use your shoulder and elbow as a reference. Pull the elbow back during the backswing and keep it tucked against your waist. Elbow against the waist. Watch, elbow stays glued to the waist as you set up the backswing. That's the anchor point. When I serve this way with my students, the spin is so heavy they can barely return it. The elbow must stay in contact with your waist throughout the backswing. That's what I call the anchor. And the elbow tip must point behind you, not to the side, but straight back behind your body in the lateral direction. That's point 1. Point 2, you must open the shoulder. Most players who struggle with the hook serve have this problem. The shoulder stays closed. Watch, pull the shoulder back. It's like turning the shoulder, not the hip.
其实我们大部分的业余球发不好勾手，都是因为他肩，你看，把肩拉开，就是
It's a shoulder rotation, not a hip rotation. If you just turn your hips, you end up pushing the ball over, there's no real spin. What we want is the shoulder pulled back behind the body line while the torso stays relatively square. Watch, if the shoulder sits parallel to your body, that's wrong. The shoulder needs to be behind your body, off to the rear side. See, this position is correct. So to recap, point 1, the elbow points backward with the forearm tucked against your waist. Point 2, open the shoulder. Watch, I'm not rotating my whole body. I'm pulling just the shoulder back. It feels a lot like the stretch you get when you do a big backswing for a loop. That pulling sensation in the shoulder, that's exactly the feeling we want when setting up the hook serve.
第二个就是把肩打开，你看，不是转身体，是肩打开，就有点像我们平时不转身体拉肩的感觉，这不就是拉手的感觉吗？我们在勾手的时候也是，这就是拉手的感觉。
Once you understand those 2 points, let's move on. Point 3 is about your center of gravity and your swing path. Let's start with the side spin topspin variation. The trajectory of your racket during the swing should stay level with the top of the net. What does that mean? Watch, as I swing through, my racket traces a path at exactly net height. The racket moves along this horizontal plane, not above it. If your swing path rises higher than the net, you're already in trouble.
什么意思？就是你看，这么磨，跟网子的高度是一样的，高于网子。你看我们
Watch, a lot of players do the hook serve like this, and it's wrong. The swing must stay at net height. Think of the net as your reference line. Your backswing, your arm extension, your entire racket path, all of it traces along the height of the net. Use the net as your guide rail for the whole motion. This applies whether you're hitting side spin topspin or side spin backspin. Why do so many hook serves come out too high? The reason is the angle of incidence between the ball and the racket face is too steep. The racket is coming in from above, instead of along that net height plane. So the ball pops up every time.
机票可以送一下。所以侧下拳、侧上拳
Keep the ball at net height throughout. The forearm, wrist, and finger movements should stay compact, don't exaggerate them. Arc is the most important factor. If the ball bounces too high, no amount of spin will save you, so keep it skimming just over the net. Once you lock in that low trajectory, you can start adding speed and really accelerate through the ball. Now, the third point, this is the most common mistake people make with this serve. Watch, I'll show you 2 versions. See which one is correct. Here's the first.
那么我们保持好这个高度以后，后续的球你相对来说速度就能顶出来了。对，速度就可以发力了。第3点是什么呢？你看，这就是我们业余球最容易出的问题。你看我发2个，大家看哪个是对的啊？第一个。
And here's the second. You can see the difference. The spin quality between them is night and day. The second serve rips with heavy rotation while the first one dies almost immediately. So remember, elbow anchored to the waist, shoulder pulled open behind the body line, and racket path locked at net height.